I still remember the way my life felt normal back then, before everything started to twist into something I still can't fully explain. My name is Gabriel, and I lived with my parents in a small cabin on the edge of the forest, about 20 minutes outside the city. It wasn't the kind of place people imagined when they thought of the woods. We had electricity, internet, a gravel driveway, and a mailbox at the end of the road like everyone else. But once you went past our house, the trees thickened and swallowed the road whole. Our cabin was simple. One floor, wooden walls that always smelled faintly like pine, a metal roof that popped when it cooled at night. My parents worked in town and I was still in high school, so most afternoons I got home before them. I'd drop my backpack on the couch, make a sandwich, and sit near the window with my phone, scrolling or doing homework while the forest went quiet around me. We had only one neighbor close enough to see from our property. His name was Bill. His cabin sat about 40 meters away, partially hidden by trees old and darker than ours, with warped wooden boards and a porch that sagged slightly in the middle. I didn't know much about him. My parents said he had lived there for years, long before we moved in. He was quiet, kept to himself, and only came into town once or twice a week. I had seen him a few times, usually from a distance. Tall, thin, always wearing a dark jacket, even in summer. Every night at exactly 6 p.m. something happened. At first, it was just noise, strange noise. The kind that didn't have a clear source. It wasn't loud enough to be alarming, but it was consistent. Metallic clanks, soft dragging sounds, sometimes a dull thud, like something heavy being dropped and picked up again. It always started right at 6 p.m., and usually lasted around 10 to 15 minutes. I told myself it was nothing. Bill was probably fixing something. Maybe chopping wood, maybe moving furniture, maybe working on his cabin. People in the woods made noise. That was normal. But something felt off, but I couldn't explain why. It wasn't just the sounds, it was the precision of it. Always at the same time. Always. I'd be on my phone, look at the clock, see 5:59 p.m., and a minute later there it was. Like someone had flipped a switch. I didn't want to seem paranoid, but after a few weeks I started paying attention. Really paying attention. I'd stop what I was doing and listen. The sounds didn't match any specific work I knew. There was no rhythm like chopping, no engine sound, no voices, just irregular movements and soft impacts. One night I mentioned it to my mom. "Does Bill always make noise at 6? I asked casually. She shrugged. "Probably. He's always fixing that old place." "Why?" "Just noticed it," I said, and I dropped it. Looking back, I should have pushed more. I should have asked more questions. But at the time, I didn't want to be the weird kid who overthought everything. Then, the noises started changing. They became slower, heavier, and sometimes wetter. That's the only word that fits. There was a sound like fabric being pulled across damp wood, like something dragging, resisting the surface beneath it. It made my stomach tighten when I heard it. One evening, my parents were late coming home. It was raining lightly, the kind of drizzle that made the forest smell stronger. I was sitting on my bed with my headphones on when I noticed the time, 6 p.m. exactly. I took the headphones off. The sound came almost immediately. A low scrape. A pause. Another scrape. Then a soft, hollow thud. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. I got up and went to the window facing Bill's cabin. I didn't open the curtain fully. Just enough to peek through. His place looked dark, as always. No porch light, no movement I could see. Then I noticed something new. A faint light from inside his cabin. Not a normal lamp glow. It flickered slightly, uneven, like a candle or a dying flashlight. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself I was imagining patterns that weren't there. But I didn't move away from the window until the noise stopped. Over the next few days, it got worse. Sometimes the sounds came with a faint, sharp smell that drifted through our open windows. Not smoke. Not garbage. Something metallic and sour. My mom thought it was just wet leaves and rust. One night, I heard something that didn't sound like work at all. It sounded like breathing. Not close. Not in my room. But outside. Slow. Heavy. Interrupted. Like someone trying not to be heard. I froze. I stayed still for what felt like minutes, listening. It stopped. Then the scraping sound started again from Bill's direction, right on schedule. I slept with my door locked that night. For the first time ever. A week later, my parents had to stay overnight in the city for work. I was 16. Old enough to be alone. I told them I was fine, and I was... until 6 p.m. came. The forest was unusually quiet that evening. No birds. No insects. Just still air. The first sound was louder than usual. A heavy impact that made me flinch. Then dragging. Then a slow, uneven tapping like knuckles against wood. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, even though the cabin lights were already on. It was instinct. Like I needed something in my hand. I walked to the front door and locked it. Then checked the back. Then the windows. All of them. I didn't want to seem paranoid, but something about being alone made every noise feel closer. Then I heard it. Not from Bill's cabin. From behind our cabin. A single step in wet leaves. My body went cold in a way that wasn't dramatic. It was like my muscles tightened all at once. My breathing went shallow without me deciding to. Another step. Closer. I froze. I didn't want to check. I didn't want to confirm what my brain was already building. I stood in the middle of the living room, barely breathing, phone flashlight pointed at nothing. Then my phone buzzed. A text from my mom. Everything okay? I almost dropped it. Yes, I typed. Just quiet. Another step. Right outside the wall. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. The breathing started again. This time closer. Right outside the thin wooden wall that separated me from the forest. I whispered, "Hello?" My voice sounded small. Useless. No answer. Just the sound of something shifting its weight. Then, from Bill's cabin, the noise stopped. Silence filled the space between the trees. Thick. Heavy. I realized something that made my chest tighten. Whatever had been making the noises at Bill's place wasn't there anymore. It was here. I ran to my bedroom and locked the door. I turned off the lights and crouched beside the bed, holding my phone like it could protect me. I texted my parents to come home. I didn't explain. I just begged. The worst part was the waiting, the listening. Soft footsteps circled the cabin. Slow. Careful. Like it was learning the shape of the walls, like it was memorizing where I was. A shadow passed under the thin line of light at the bottom of my door. I covered my mouth to keep from making a sound. Then I heard something touch the doorknob, not turn it, just rest against it, like fingers testing the metal. I didn't scream. I couldn't. After a long moment, it pulled away. The footsteps moved back toward the forest. When my parents finally arrived, I was still on the floor. I couldn't stand. My legs shook too much. I told them everything. They searched outside with flashlights. Found nothing. No footprints. No broken branches. No signs of anyone. The next morning, Bill's cabin was empty. No car, no lights, no sound. Days passed. 10 weeks. The police checked his place after my parents insisted. They said it was abandoned. No personal items, no food, no signs of recent living. But they couldn't explain the stains on the floor. Dark. Irregular. Like something had been dragged repeatedly across the wood. To this day, I don't know what Bill was doing every night at 6 p.m. I don't know what was in his cabin. And I don't know what came to our house that night. All I know is that whatever it was, it learned where I lived. And sometimes, when the forest goes quiet exactly 6 p.m., I still feel like it's listening for me again.